Welcome, guys, to the League Itself podcast. This is episode 7, and it's our Live Golf Riyadh preview. It's crazy that we've made it to Riyadh. It's been such a great, unfulfilling off season, depending on how you look at it. But it's the week. We're here, and I'm Live Golf Buff. I'm with Liver and Onions. And how are you feeling? This is the first tournament that we've had in 5 months of Live Golf. So, what's your emotion going into it?
Yeah, it feels good to say we made it through the off season, and regardless of what you were expecting in the off season, I think it was a successful off season. I don't think we will look back and say between 24 and 25 that nothing significant happened because we're moving forward. We have a TV deal. We have tons of sponsors, tons of apparel partnerships. The league continues to grow. We've got brand new young players that are going to have a chance to make a name for themselves on Live. So good off season. Let's get the season rolling.
Yeah, I'm very excited. And there's so much that's going to happen this year. I think it's going to be a way different year than the last two, just based off of the storylines that we have, and the league has grown so much over the last 3 seasons, and now this is the fourth total season. So I'm excited to see what happens. And the evolution from 2022 to now is staggering, really, when you think about it. So let's get into the preview. Before we do that, I do want to say we are elsewhere aside from X. We are on Spotify, we are on YouTube, we are on Instagram. Please follow our content, subscribe. We greatly appreciate every person that does interact with our posts there. We'll continue to be as active as we can on there, and let us know when you are there because we'd like to follow back as well. So we appreciate everyone that does support us, and we'd like to support you back. So
Yeah, it's always fun. Always fun responding to comments and knowing that people are watching and throwing in a little opinions of their own and then having some back and forth. That's always fun for us. So keep
yes,
doing that, and we'll get back to you on pretty much everything.
and I said follow back. We'll only do it if you say, "Oh, I listened to the Riyadh preview." If you don't, then we're not going to follow you back. So
There you go.
just wanted to set the ground rules there. But we're in Riyadh Golf Club, under the lights, a tournament that you and I and the men's professional game has never seen before. And the pictures from everything has looked incredible so far. The Rain Jotes have posted, Rick Shields posted, uh, who
DJ
else?
posted a
DJ
bunch.
posted. Yeah, the looks like they
AK
went.
posted a couple.
Yeah, AK getting practice during the daylight, which makes a ton of sense. But um, the pictures have been incredible so far. It looks like they really went above and beyond with the lights and the structure of the course. I think it's going to look fantastic, and they're going to post way more as the week goes on. So be on the lookout for all of those. I think something fun early on, like how does this impact players who haven't played in the dark before? Certainly, most of them haven't played in a competitive setting. So does it impact any players, any caddies? Are we going to lose a ball potentially that normally wouldn't be lost? These are all things that, while minor, uh, I think there are things that could happen that we're just not used to in day tournaments in the sun. So it's going to be really interesting just on the surface. And
From
pretty
what I've
much,
seen with the social media videos where guys are practicing, the ball is actually easy to track. The lighting isn't like an afterthought on this course. This course was built with the lighting in mind, and I think that it's much more well lit than, say, the Showdown or even the Grass League. Different type of camera, obviously, on the Grass League than we'll have here. But when DJ's firing off missiles off the driving range in hole 7, I feel like the ball is actually easier to track with against the night sky than it is in the daytime when it's against a blue or a cloudy sky.
yeah, definitely. And I think also too, which is interesting, like the amount of strobe lights they have there too. Like it looks kind of like a sick concert, really. Some holes I think are going to be really interesting how they play out. The 18th hole, I'm curious on if playing that at night is any different. The lines that those guys take off the tee, especially the bombers, like it'll be really interesting to see how those shots compare to what it was like during like the daylight in the Saudi International. But I think that'll be really interesting. And this course is pretty familiar to a lot of guys, even though it's first go around on Live. 42 of the live golfers played in the Saudi International or in the promotions event. So a lot of these guys are pretty familiar with the course. But I know you have more Riyadh facts prepared.
Well, in addition to what you just said, some of the new guys, Massaveo played here, even though we had no idea at the time he was going to be on live. He played in the Saudi. Um, Yuban Jang played here. So even guys that weren't part of live got a little experience on this course, whether they had any idea at the time that that was a possibility or not. So it's not the same as it's going to be showing up to the Cardinal in Michigan. There's
Mhm.
going to be a lot of guys that say, I know this course and I know it pretty well. But I was thinking more of the live Riyadh thing, thinking in terms of like when this tournament was in Jeddah, it got a lot of flack because there was like 5 people in attendance. And it was what it was, right? PIF is going to sponsor a tournament in Saudi Arabia. That's just what it is. But I've been looking at the population of Jeddah compared to Riyadh, and we've got about twice as many people. So I think there's potential that we might get some people. I've seen the build out and stuff in a few of the videos that have been posted, and it looks like they must be expecting some crowd, as there seems to be more build out, I think, than there was in Jeddah. Jeddah was like, if a few people show up, let them walk and let them stand wherever. But there is some grandstands and stuff here, some hospitality areas that I don't remember many of in Jeddah. So I'm hoping that means there'll be a few people along the ropes.
Yeah, well, in Jeddah, they had off the sea on 16, they had a little build out on the tee and on the green, and then at 18 they had the build out there too. I think that was it though. And then here, it's a pretty similar 18th hole with the setup with the build out that they have. I don't know where else I haven't looked enough to see where else they would have stuff. Um, but also with Jeddah, that was, even though it was Live Golf Jeddah, it was in King Abdullah Economic City, which is like 45 minutes away, and is there's nothing going on there in terms of population there yet. So it is
And I
completely
think there was
different.
some gallery for the PIF Saudi. If I remember right, there was, there was small groups following some of the better players. It wasn't
Yeah,
dead like Jeddah. So
yeah, no, it's totally a different vibe than Jeddah, and so I don't know how much different that'll be with these guys. I mean, it's still in Saudi, so it's not like we're getting a crowd in general. This will still be the smallest crowd they play in front of all year,
yeah.
I think. So, but something also different than the Saudi International. This course played pretty easy, and it was a par 71. Here in Live Golf, it's a par 72. So that has a potential for it to play even easier. And I didn't see which hole compared differently, but making it from a 71 to a 72, where a 4 round winner shot 21 under, I think it sets up for a pretty good scoring week in Riyadh this
And I
week.
think I don't remember. I'm not going to give credit because I don't remember the person, but somebody said that it was set up in a slightly different order. A couple of the holes were going to play out of order as compared to what they played in the Saudi. So that'll be interesting too. Just a hair different cadence to the course. One other thing, playing at night and under the lights has its own factors to think about. And I know a lot of guys with like the showdown, they just said how you read greens and shadows and things is different. But night golf, the air is going to be different too than it is in the day. And I think that's something that we'll see caddies talking a little bit about is how does night air change the flight of a ball compared to sunny, hot, humid daytime. Um, so it's not just considering nights and lights. I think that there's going to be some distance, whether that's a yard or 2 or 3. There may be some distance factors to play in as well.
Yeah, and I think I feel like that would be to the detriment of the over analytical guys, like on the course. Like, considering, I mean, this course, I don't think you can overpower with. I don't know if you can overpower a night golf course either. So like if you're Bryson, who's trying to hit it just a mile in the dark, I don't know how that works. And if you're Phil, who talks through every single shot and is very analytical in his approach, he doesn't know how the night air reacts to the ball compared to the day. He's never played anything like this before.
Right.
I'm sure he'll have some sort of an idea during his prep during the week, but that's something to also keep an eye out for. But at the same time, Phil, he's got good eyes because of his coffee, so he'll be able to see the ball and maybe feel it out what the ball's going to do better than most, just because of all that coffee he drinks.
Right. I'm not concerned. I know people have talked about it, and you mentioned too, like will there be lost balls and that kind of stuff. I'm not that concerned about it. I think for the most part, pro golfers know where the ball is going when they hit it. The only thing is going to be, like you said, at 18, what kind of a line do you take there? Is the water going to be lit? I know guys try and cut that edge on 18 a little bit. So do you lose the ball in flight if you cut it somewhere where there isn't light over the fairway or things like that? Then all of a
Well,
sudden you catch a tree and it drops somewhere that maybe isn't lit, or so that part could be different. But I don't see there being lost balls like, oh,
I
there's
think where
darkness.
lost balls come into play, like I don't know if you remember during the promotions event, Ollie Schneider Jans had a tee shot. I think it was on four that was like way off the fairway on the other side of the poles. And it's a pretty niche shot, but he was just in a bunch of nonsense and in a bunch of weeds and stuff. Are you gonna be able to find that kind of ball that's like so far off the map like he was during the day? I don't. I would be very shocked. Like, you just giving these guys flashlights and here you go, try your best? Like,
Right.
I wonder how that works. I'm sure they're going to put the volunteers there through a little bit of a gauntlet to find those types of shots, which is why I don't know how much you can overpower this course because you're not going to get lucky as much within those types of shots and outcomes. So
Well,
that's something to
you're
keep an
also going
eye
to
on.
have to limit your risk. You're not going to take risky shots as much if there is that like fear of lost ball. If I land in there, even though it may not be out of play, I may not find it. You're going to have to play a little more conservative at times, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, when it comes to like a David Puig, whose game is bombing the ball, and that's where his real advantage comes in. Like, if you have to take him back a little bit, like I don't know if I can take this risk necessarily on certain holes. Then it kind of levels him out with the rest of the field, and I don't know how effective that makes him. Like maybe this is a really good ball striker week, but you never. I don't know. Like we're saying all this stuff within night golf, but we really don't know how it's going to play differently in comparison to a normal thing. We could be overthinking it like crazy, or maybe we're not overthinking it enough. Like take everything we're saying with a grain of salt when it comes to what the conditions will mean, because we really are not sure just
Yeah.
based off of this variable that we've never seen before.
Right. No, and there's nothing really to compare it to. We can talk about the showdown with Brooks and Bryson, but um, I just think that this is a whole different situation. We're not talking back and forth, alternate shot, anything like that. We're talking 3 full rounds of 18 holes where guys are spending 3, some of them 4 nights probably of practice rounds playing under the lights, trying to get used to it. So this is totally different, something we have not seen before.
Yeah.
Um, so let's talk a little bit about the individual players and kind of preview that going into Riyadh. Is there anybody? And I know you kind of have your eye on one guy that's you think is this is his spot, um, the Crown Prince.
The Crown
I
Prince.
think you've coined him that. Um, other than Wako Neiman, who else do you feel like this is set up for them to play really well?
So I I look at Saudi as its own. Like I know Jeddah is different than Riyadh, but just the whole atmosphere and the vibe of Saudi in general, that travel really, they're a lot of these guys don't play in this type of setting competitively during a normal season. So I look at the guys that have done well in Saudi Arabia in the past. And so in live golf events, um, Waco, Brooks, Taylor Gooch, Charles Howell, Charles Schwartzel, DJ, and Sergio have placed in the top 10 in 2 of the 3 Saudi events so far on live. I think those guys have a little bit of an edge just based off of playing in the country and performing well there. I mean, you look at, and also with guys like Answer, Varner, Bubba, like these guys have also played well in Saudi in the past too, outside of live too. So there's a lot of different things there. I just think the venue, like a lot of these guys, they've played the venue before, and it's a pretty easy to score venue, but just Saudi as its own thing is something that's unique to all of these guys, and I think you have to have a different mindset playing in a place that's just different. I like there most of the time there's not a ton of people there. It's just completely different with the nightlife and what you're gonna do. Uh, I'm really I'm leaning on those guys that have had success in the past as the ones that will be the best. And particularly, I think Brooks Koepka and Taylor Gooch, two guys who have been in playoffs in Saudi. Brooks has been in multiple playoffs in Saudi. I mean, Brooks won in Jeddah twice in 22 and 23. I think those guys, particularly along with Waco, his domination in Jeddah, and then winning in Riyadh in the Saudi International in the same year, if he goes back to back to back, that makes him the crown prince. And we all need to embrace that nickname going forward.
And I'm going to counter you a little bit on that and just say I'm not sure playing in Saudi makes that much difference. I look back at the Saudi International, which was played at this course, and you look at live guys who finished high. Well, Cam and Caleb Surratt lost in the playoff. Uh, so basically T1 or T2, however you want to classify them. Then you have Matt Jones, Thomas Peters, Jason Kokrak, Cam Tringale, Kevin Na, Brandon Grace all finished top 10. So to me, that says really anybody that's on can score and play well here. That this isn't going to benefit some special experience. Like you look at just, it's such a random group of guys who played well here. And Caleb Surratt finished the live year not very well at all. And then he shows up and darn near wins the PIF Saudi. So I'm not putting a lot of stock in like who's played well in Saudi Arabia, who's played well on this course. I think the way the course is going to be set up at night, I think it's really hard to predict and really hard to say that just because you've played in that country or on this course well, that that's going to reward you again a second time. But then I also look at the flip side of who didn't play well at the PIF Saudi. I mean, Sergio was terrible. DJ was terrible. Carlos Ortiz was bad. Brendan Steele was bad. I mean, AK and Sergio missed the cut. AK beat Sergio by 2 strokes. And so there's something here that's just not normal, I guess, with taking past experience and applying it to how guys are going to do it. I'm more looking on the side of who played some golf in the off season, and who has been playing golf in January. And I think they're going to be more ready to play than the guys that haven't played since the PIF Saudi.
I think I think with the Saudi International, I think it's so much different. I think it's hard to compare that just because like with DJ and with Sergio, like that tournament was a month and a half after their last competition, and they haven't really played since. That was more of a contractual, like you got to be here, be per the rumors that we've heard that live guys have to play international series events. So, and that's a really good purse too. So maybe they're just showing up for a paycheck, and if they don't have it, they don't have it. I don't really think how much. I don't think they care that much. There really isn't that much to gain in this event outside of OWGR points. Maybe if you really care about that, which I don't think DJ nor Sergio really care about. Maybe Sergio with him going for his Ryder Cup status, but I think I don't know. I feel like Saudi is the only place in the world that these guys play in that is just completely different from an atmosphere wise than everywhere else. You know, and I think it's I like the idea of thinking that maybe these guys just take a different approach to this place in comparison to everyone else. You know, it's just a different place, and it's hard to put a finger on why. Well, it's actually pretty easy on why, but uh, just the way that the culture is, and the things that you feel like you're kind of walking on eggshells. Maybe I don't know, but it's just completely different than a normal place that they play on in comparison to everything else. So I think that kind of gives them an edge and why, personally.
So other than Joaquin winning it, who else do you see finishing top 5 or being in contention?
Well, of course, I think Rom's going to be up there. I think he's going to put on a show this week. I think Brooks and Gooch, even without the Saudi thing, I think they're looking to start out the year hot. I don't know if you saw Gooch's Instagram post from the media, the teams week that Smash put out, how they really felt poor about how the team championship ended, and I'll talk more about that during the team preview. But I think Brooks and Gooch will go up high. I'm curious to see how Tom McKibben plays. With his first event being, in a night golf tournament. on live. He's never experienced any of this before, literally any of it. I'm curious to see how that goes for him. But if he can play well through this, I think he can play well through anything. Any of the crushers. I know I mentioned Howell earlier, but how's Bryson going to play? He surprised me with how well he played in India with tinkering with his driver and his irons. Went back to the good putter. So does he change any of that in Riyadh? I wouldn't be surprised if he did bring out the LA golf driver to his debut live tournament. But I mean, there's a lot of guys really, and I think my dark horse for the season and for when our team or individual rankings come out, our preseason individual rankings. So I think Sebastian Munoz starts out hot too, with a good finished in India. I think he's going to carry this over to Saudi as well. But we'll see. I mean, is there anyone else that you're looking for in particular?
Well, I have Patton winning. I think he's the DP World Tour events that he played. I think you look at how he finished and how he was competing, and he has a win. Gets a week off now, where like David Puig kept playing. So David Puig is going to have played what 3 weeks in a row, 4 weeks in a row now. By the time
Yeah.
he gets to Riyadh, where Hatton takes a week off, refreshes a little bit. He's coming in off of a win for him. So I think Hatton that this course sets up as well for him as anybody. And then I look at Bryson coming out of India, and that just energizes him to me. Everything you see about who was interviewing him, what he had to say, growing the game, meeting kids, signing autographs. He's energized. He's ready to go for live. I think Bryson has a chance to push right to the end here. Um, Rom's going to be top five. Why would we expect anything different? And then you talked about McKibben. I think when you look at McKibben, Masabeo, Euban Jang, uh, Ben Campbell, and Frederick Ketchup, the new guys, this is going to be their very first live event. Who's going to be ready to go? Um, I think Euban Jang's going to be ready to go. And I'm giving him the edge because of that night tournament that they played. I know it's one time and it's scramble and it's 18 holes and they finished a couple holes early with the win. But I just think playing under the lights in Arizona gives you a little bit of comfort going into these practice rounds saying, okay, this is what we need to work on. They're getting there. They're saying, here's what we found under the lights. Here's what we need to really study with the lights on this course. And other teams are going to play around and try and figure that out. And so, of the new guys, I'm going to take Euban Jang to finish the best of the five new guys. And I don't know that he's a top 5 or 10 finisher here, but I think we're going to say, oh, yeah, the Ironhead's got a really good player.
And something that with the schedule, like if my theory of you can't overpower night golf is true, a night golf course, this schedule really starts out poorly for the bombers of live golf. If Riyadh, you can't overpower it. Adelaide is is such a short course, but you can't miss. You got to hit the fairways there. It's a really like anyone can do well in Adelaide. That course is all 54 guys have a chance to win there. It doesn't play well to one thing, I don't think. And then Hong Kong, which that is the tightest track in the world. I not literally, but it is so tight that you, as a bomber, you're not going to do super well there. I don't think. I mean, that's why Abe Answer and Cam Smith and Paul Casey were in the playoff there last year. Like those guys aren't bombers. So the schedule starts out poorly for if we want to have David Pooch break out, this isn't the right schedule for him to start doing that with.
Right.
But I think it also sets up perfectly for Cam Smith to get an early win, which I don't think it's going to be here, but I think he could easily do it in Hong Kong or Adelaide. So it's something to look out for going forward too.
One
Um,
more guy I'd want to mention that I think top five or pushing for that is Abe Answer, coming
yeah,
off a really good performance in India, just a tighter golf course where it doesn't reward bombers. I think that's his kind of game, and um, I think this course sets up well for him, especially if he's putting well, which he seemed to be putting pretty well in India. Um, I think this golf course has some tricky putts. We saw, in the live promotions how important putting was on the 18th. A lot of guys basically continued their chances at live or didn't there putting on the 18th. So I like Abe Answer to push to the end here too.
yeah. I think 18 on Saturday. This tournament starts on Thursday, which I don't get me started because I think it's so stupid.
It's all
This
about the
term,
Super Bowl.
Yeah, good thing the tournament ends at 2 o'clock Eastern time.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank God. That's really interfering with the 6 o'clock Super Bowl. That's not even going to be on FS2, anyways. But I do think that 18th hole pin location, short left or short right, right behind that bunker. It's gonna be really interesting to see how guys take that on. I think the only way to play it that hole, if you can, is try to bomb it over everything. And uh, if you get a close chip, it's an automatic birdie. But it's really boom or bust. That's a great finishing hole. And if we get a playoff, it's gonna be really exciting. But I do you want to go on to the teams? I have Neva,
Yeah,
you have Hatton.
correct.
All right,
Let's go
let's
on
go
to
to
the
the teams then.
teams. What does it take? We still don't have confirmation on 4 scores counting or not. That seems like a something we should, as fans, be knowing going into the tournament. There hasn't been an official confirmation, but let's say that it does, because all indications say that it does. And if it doesn't, it's actually better for a lot of teams, probably. What does it take for a team to win at Riyadh if all 4 of your scores count? Like no
I think
blow
what
ups, which it's not a course that I don't see a lot of guys blowing up. There's just not that one hole where doubles and triples are going to just frequently happen.
um well, I think 17, the par three. What's that par three down the stretch? That's a really hard hole that Max
16 or
Lee.
17, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 17. I don't know for sure. But that par three just before the end that Max Lee had that sick birdie on, like that's a really hard hole. I can see a couple big numbers there. I think 8 is also a par three, 8 or 9. It's kind of like an island green. Like the par threes here aren't easy. So I think par three scoring is something important. Obviously, not driving it all over the place like some people probably will. If make sure everything is good within your ball striking. I think this is really gonna be a ball strikers week. So it's really just not making a big number. And it depends on also how these greens read too. I'm not taking any putting stats from India. I mean that place is just so weird. This is nothing like DLF in terms of putting and what the greens look like. So I wouldn't take any of those stats. I know with Abe Answer, I throw that out the window. I think that's just luck with how that course played. But yeah, I really think it's par three scoring and not driving yourself out of contention.
Yeah, and I look at I'll just say the team that I picked Hatton to win, and I think Legion wins here. Um, and I know I don't have Legion winning the overall season race, but when I look at the guys on Legion, Rom has already played this year. Hatton's already played and won this year. Tom McKibben has already played this year, and Caleb Surratt played the International Series event. So one of those rare teams where all 4 players have already got their season started, and I think that's an advantage regardless of the course that you've played some competitive rounds. You look at Smash. Who on that team has played a competitive round? When was the last time?
That's a
Fifth
good
Saudi?
question.
Fifth
Yeah, it
Saudi?
was Saudi. Yeah.
Yeah. So doesn't mean everything, but my pick is Legion. I think that everybody's going to have settled in. You've figured out if you made club changes, what you're doing with new clubs. Um, the one wild card, obviously, Tom McKibben, brand new to the league. He's got to figure this out. The whole thing about this feels different, right? I might start on hole 7 or whatever. The cadence of the course isn't the same. A lot of guys will say that, but in the end, they all say you're still playing the same 18 holes. And then Caleb Surratt had pretty good success, so his confidence should be high coming in here, having been 21 under the last time he played here. So I just think as a whole, they're ready to play, and that's going to benefit them.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue that Legion's a good pick, even though I'm for the people watching the video of this podcast. I'm wearing my Taylor Gooch hat. You're wearing your Nike hat, which if you took it off and showed the camera, are you going to do that?
Sure.
Yeah, it's your custom Nike Smash hat. So it's weird that you're not picking Smash and a live hack too, but I'm picking Smash. I think just like based off of what Gooch and Brooks, I'm really excited to see how they play. Even though Brooks didn't really win the showdown, the way he played, I think was pretty good and way better than what Bryson did. But I think those two are like Gooch is such a good ball striker. I think he's going to perform really well. I think the Saudi thing matters. I think the one variable is Jason Kokrak. I don't want him spraying it all over the place. If he keeps the ball in the fairway, I think he's going to play really well here. And I don't think GMAC is. I don't think GMAC's going to blow up and give you a big number in many spots. So that's why I'm picking them. If I would be taking Torque if Mito Pereira didn't withdraw for unknown reasons, if Carlos Ortiz didn't withdraw for unknown reasons. I'm kind of up in the air with those guys. It's kind of freaked me out that Mito hasn't played golf since after having such a horrific year. Ortiz not as much withdrawing in India, but it still didn't make any sense. I mean, they still finished the tournament on time. I don't know why you wouldn't want to finish it. So those are just things that kind of throw me off. And like I said earlier, I don't know how much you can overpower this course. That's why I think ball striking teams, I think Ripper has a really good chance of coming out this week and winning. I think they're going to contend for it. I don't know if they're going to get the job done, but I think Cam Smith, I think Lucas Herbert, after his year last year, I think they're both going to play super well. I mean, the Crushers will obviously be really good, of course. Trying to think, I don't see any miracle wins from bottom feeding teams. I don't think the Ironheads are going to do it. I don't think High Flyers will do it. I think the High Flyers will contend though at Adelaide next week, but we'll see. But
One team you haven't mentioned who I think could actually play this course well is the Cleeks. I think Richard Bland, Martin Keimer. I think Adrian Moronk is poised for a good year. I mean, Adrian Moronk kind of stations in Dubai, so this isn't like across the world travel for him. I mean, their question is Ketrup, but Ketrup made the cut in India and I think finished T24.
yeah, not a
So
bad
he's
week at all.
coming in playing okay. So I don't think he's gonna feel like he's got to shake rust off to start with. It's just going to be the live effect and being different. But I could see the Cleeks being a top 5 finish here.
Yeah, a dark horse. I'm scared about Adrian Moronk still. Like he has to be your one, and he hasn't showed anyone that he can be your one. But I think this place fits Richard Bland really well. I mean, he's going to be hitting, and he hits every fairway anyway. I think he's going to do it even better here. But I do think that's a dark horse pick. Is there any team we haven't mentioned?
Yeah, 4 aces.
Oh yeah, wow, that's
Um,
crazy that we got this far without him.
we talked about DJ. He's there practicing under the lights already. Um, if you watched his 2v2 versus Phil, which I don't know when that was recorded, DJ didn't look good, but the comment was made in that video like, "Oh, DJ's just starting his preseason practice again." And I think that was probably filmed 3 or 4 weeks ago. And so DJ's probably been getting after it for 3 or 4 weeks, but a lot of guys took 3 or 4 weeks off and have been training and doing everything. And that's just DJ. And I don't think that's anything to be alarmed about. It's not like he started last year sluggish. He got his
No,
only win of the year at Las Vegas on the second tournament. So Thomas Peters played a DP World Tour event 2 weeks ago. Didn't play great. Harold Varner, he played. Where did he play? He played somewhere already. I'll have to look that up because I swear he's already played once. Did he play the? No, maybe not. But
I don't remember him playing.
okay, maybe not. No, he played in India.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
duh, he
so
did play.
he's coming off the India tournament.
Yeah.
Um, I just don't know what to expect with that team. I think as the year goes, that team gets stronger.
Yeah, I don't think this is a great course for them to start out with. It could be. I think these guys. I think the team spirit with these guys this year with Thomas Peters will be with Varner, I should say, and Thomas Peters. Two friends. I think that'll go pretty well. So I don't know if they're going to be galvanized here, but I think Adelaide they could play well, or Singapore, Hong Kong, one of those two. They could have a high finish. They're a real unknown. I really don't know how they're going to do either. I mean, they're obviously better than last year, right?
Yes, yes.
I don't say right after asking a question. But yeah, I feel a lot better about their outlook this year, but I don't know if it's top 3, top 5, or top 7. I think it'll be interesting to see how they end up.
I don't think we talked about Ironhead specifically. One concern there is Genichiro, and he is there. I had questions personally about whether he would show up and be ready to go. It appears he is. A lot of his social media posts in the off season were working with doctors and trainers, and he had tweeted out that he was having back pain and different things. And so I don't know if he's played a ton of golf, but he's there ready to go. And then I don't think we talked specifically a whole lot about the fireballs. You said Sergio had a couple of top tens at Jeddah, I think you said.
Mhm.
Uh, and I kind of like answer at this course. So does it come down to Massaveo for them?
Well, I mean, we talked about how much we don't like Puig here,
Yeah,
and how much I don't like his start early. Um, but I mean, with four scores counting, if you're going to have Puig, if we think Puig is going to play average, let's say, I don't know how what we can expect from Acevedo and what we can expect for the Fireballs starting out this year.
I think just looking at Puig's results the last couple of weeks, one thing I think is changing for him is it used to be a bogey led to two bogeys, three bogeys, four bogeys. And it looks from his scorecards like he's maybe getting that under control. When he bogeys, like maybe that's the only one, or there's one more, and then he rights the ship. He's back to back top fives on the DP World Tour, which they aren't terrible fields that he's been playing against. So course fit will matter for him just the way he plays, but definitely he's confident coming into this.
Yeah, and before we move on to our fun little game, Majestics, Range Goats, we don't think you guys are all that good. I'm not expecting much in Riyadh. Let's see something before.
Show us we're wrong. Show
Show
us
us
we're
we're
wrong,
wrong.
Majestics.
Show us something. Also, Stinger, Schwartzel has been in good in Saudi in the past. I'm pretty sure Louis has been good in Saudi in the past. I
It's a
don't
good
think
game. It's a good course for Louis. Like
it's a
where he's
great
just going to be
course.
able to fire irons all day. That's perfect.
Yeah, I think it's perfect for him. I don't know how much I like Burmester here. And Brandon Grace played here well twice last year. So that could be someone for a sneaky
And
top 10.
he's got a chip on his shoulder. I think he's going to play with that all year to say, you guys are all mad that Liv brought me back. Well, guess what? I'm a top whatever player in this league. And
Yep.
I don't know if that's going to pan out for him. We'll see. I didn't have him making a huge like he's not going to be in the lock zone type guy. He's talented enough to be. I just don't know that it happens for him that quickly.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be with what he does. He's going to be a fun storyline to follow throughout the season if he does play well, because then that business case will look fantastic. Um, but
And
yeah, I think that
then
could be fun.
the last pseudo team. Let's talk about the wild cards. I know you don't want to. How do you, Max Lee obviously is coming to this course having won the Live Promotions event here. So he says, "Hey, I can play this course as good as anybody." And AK, if he gets 6, 8 foot, 10 foot putts, I think we'll be fine because he's really been practicing those. But
Let's.
um,
How about 6, 8 foot tens for birdie?
if he has those, he
He has
can
those. He's gonna do
he can
really
be all
well.
right. Yep, he's just got to get to the green. But do you
Um,
see either one of those guys finishing in the top 40?
Max Lee at the Saudi International, I think he had a poor tournament. So him winning that event was really shocking. Um, uh, yeah, I think he could do it. I don't think he's going to get points. And I think this is one of a few chances where he can get points. I'm really interested to see how the wild cards work this year because last year with Swafford, like you didn't see any of his shots in the broadcast, like just completely useless. I think the live broadcast did a good job showing every player at least once throughout the 3 days, and you saw one Swafford shot a tournament, and that was
Yep.
it. So, if Max Lee is good, formidable, you're going to see a lot more of his shots. I don't know how well that is going to be. But with AK, you saw plenty of his shots because he's a crazy storyline. I don't see him uh, top 45. I mean, he just picked up clubs for the first time this week. He's been it's the
Well, he just
course is closed.
decided which clubs to pick up this week. So
Yeah, no, I'm just making fun of the fact that he's first time picking up clubs this week in Oklahoma, which I thought was funny. But obviously, he's been practicing more than that. But
yeah, he's been practicing more in the off season than a lot of guys. I don't know that he took 3, 4 weeks off and went on vacations like some guys. I think that
yeah,
he's putting in a lot of practice, and so we'll see. I think he just plays at his home course, and I would have liked to have seen like to see him get out and travel a little bit and play some other courses like a
Let,
lot of guys do.
let's see him play competitive rounds in the International Series this year. I mean, there's plenty of chances to do it. Let's see it.
Yep. All right. You want to introduce our game that we're going to play throughout the year?
Yep. A lot of these other podcasts, people, they do fun little games that are just pick the winner, pick a top three, whatever, don't care. We're going to be a little more original than that. I don't know about more original, but we're going to go little gambling game, pick a player, pick his score. So what that is we need to pick a guy that shoots an exact score for each event. Could be anyone, could be the top player, the bottom player, one specific guy to shoot a specific score. And how the game works is you can repeat the player all year. If you think Phil Mickelson's going to shoot whatever score at every single event, keep picking them. That's probably not a good idea, but you can keep picking these guys. And so you get 5 strokes taken off. You start everything. We're starting at even, and you get 5 strokes taken off. You get the exact number correct. So if you think Phil Mickelson is going to shoot 6 under in Riyadh and he shoots 6 under over the 3 days, you're -5. If you're off by 1 stroke either way, so if he shoots -5 or -7, you get 1 stroke taken off. And anything outside of 1 stroke, you get added strokes. So if you think Phil Mickelson shoots 6 under, but he ends up shooting 10 under, that's 4 strokes added to your thing. So we're going to keep a running tally of pick a player, pick his score throughout the season. We're going to do different players, and we're going to see how many strokes it can be and who we really are keyed in on as the season goes about. So it's fun, it's unique, it's different. I'll start if you don't mind.
Okay. We're going to reward accuracy. Basically, is what this is for.
Yep.
It's not just picking one guy, not knowing if he's going to win and be 16 under or 25 under. We're rewarding the accuracy of the pick. And just to be clear, we can pick the same guy as many times as we want.
Yep.
Okay.
So, what? Yeah, and it doesn't matter what place they finish in. I mean,
Correct.
that's
Yep.
all over the place. We're not
Yep.
going to mess with that. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick a guy who played pretty well to end the season last year. I think this course is pretty scoreable, so I think they're going to do well. Not top five well, but I think they're going to get points. And with that, I think Joaquin Neiman, if he wins, will shoot like 17 under, 18 under. I think it's going to be a high score. Maybe not that high, but I think it'll be a high score. I'm going to go with Lucas Herbert to shoot 9 under. And
Okay.
I think just based off of his play at the end of the year, I think he's going to play pretty well. I think 9 under in that scenario that I just laid out, if Neiman shoots 17 under, I think they'll probably get like 15th, 16th place, which I think will be an appropriate spot for him. I don't think he'll contend, but I think he'll shoot a formidable score. He'll get points to start out the year.
I think and I had that I think the winner will be about 16 under. So we were thinking very similar there. I just think that the unknown with Knight, but then you approach a live tournament a little bit different than you do a 4 round tournament with a cut, right? Because your eye is on the cut for a lot of guys. Once you make the cut, you play aggressive. Uh, live is a little different. So I thought 16 under. Boy, I think if Herbert is 9 under, I think there's going to be more than 15 guys between 9 and 17. Um, I'm going super out of the box with my first pick a player, pick his score. I'm taking Euban Jang, and I'm taking him at 11 under. And I think that's
Ooh,
11 under is going to be in that 15th range, which doesn't matter for our game. But if we're thinking winners at 16, 17, I think there's going to be a chunk of the field at 13, 12, 14, somewhere in there.
man.
'Cause I think this course is gettable. So I do think that the odds for a playoff are quite high because I don't see anyone running away. Like if you think Waco Neiman's going to win, or I think Hatton's going to win, they're winning by a stroke at the most. There's too many guys that are going to be right on there. Like we have not spent nearly enough time talking about John Rahm on this podcast. Um,
No,
the
I think
guy's
he's
going
going
to
to win 4 times this year. So yeah,
right.
I
So
agree. We really haven't spent as much
I
time as
think
we
we
should.
mentioned his name once or maybe twice because we've talked about Legion as well. But he's going to be right there, and he's going to be pushing whoever wins if it's not him. So, but yeah, to get this going and to have fun, and because part of the game is pick a guy you want to cheer to do good or cheer to do bad. That's why I took Euban Jang because honestly, the grass league videos, the guy can stripe it. Like, I think we're all gonna say a few tournaments in, like, okay, this guy can play golf, and I'm rooting for that week one. Euban Jang, 11 under, going for that -5 right off the bat.
Man, that is some risky business, dude. Like, if Yuan Chang sucks, I mean, listen, that grass league video, like, I got pumped up too. Like, he put some shots close. But if he stinks, like, you're gonna put yourself in a little hole. I think
Yeah,
I'm going for the more sure thing. I gotta feel these guys out for the first couple events. See,
yeah,
because then after, let's say after Hong Kong, we get 3 good tournaments in a row from Paul Casey. Like, then I can start. Okay, I think Paul Casey's got something going on. I can start picking that. Or if we see Anthony Kim being terrible again, oh yeah, I'm
yep.
gonna bet Anthony Kim to be 16 over at Hong Kong, something like that. I don't know, but like, I think we got to wait these out. So I think you taking a risk this early is pretty bold. I'm
I I
excited to see how that plays.
I think if Euban Jang shows up and we say, "Oh, he didn't have a good tournament," he's still like 3 under, 4 under, so I'm only gonna be 7 over, where Lucas Herbert could also go 15 under and you're 6 off. So,
Yeah, that's
I
true.
I I don't feel like it's as big of a risk when you think about how we're gonna score this as you probably thought, but
No, I just want the sure thing of, like, I know he's going to play well, and I think also too. I'm looking at the Houston leaderboard last year. Ortiz was 15 under. Second and third were 13, so like a pretty tight leaderboard at the top. 9 under there was T9. So I don't think, like, if a couple of guys shoot 16, like, I don't think that means like it's going to be like a slog at 7, 8 guys within 2 shots of 16. I think it's going to be like 3 or 4 guys, and then the rest kind of level off a little bit.
what, we didn't talk about what we have bet on this game. End of the year, what did we agree on?
I don't know, what did we agree on? I think we just did some merch, right?
Yeah, so loser buys the winner a polo of the favorite team or whatever polo they want of a team gear off of a team gear store.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I can't wait for you to buy me a primo. I'm gonna ask for the primo high
You
flyers
no
joggers.
way. No way. You're getting a Crushers Reebok polo.
Well, I'm probably just gonna buy that myself.
Oh. I looking at the PIF Saudi scoreboard. So we had 3 guys at 21 under. If you go back to 15 under, there was 21 guys 15 under or better. So within 6 shots, you had 21 guys. So if you think 17 is going to win, and I think Euban Jang's at 11 under, I don't think I'm too far off. Now you have a
That,
smaller
I mean, dude, that's a
smaller
full
field, but
field.
I
I mean,
get
that's
that.
hard to compare. I
I get
think, you
that.
know.
But you're also talking about a field with some of the best players in the world, all the way down to guys that are not even regulars on, you know, the internationals. They're like Asian tour guys. So I think that the talent difference was a bit wider there. So
Yeah,
um,
certainly a talent gap. I mean, if you have Shergo El Kurdi in your tournament after what he did in the 2022 team championship semifinal against Dustin Johnson, I mean, you can't really do well with that, right?
yeah. Okay, so fun game. We'll track it. We'll kind of keep track of that on social media. We'll update you as we do podcasts too, and how this podcasting is going to work throughout the season. We're going to try and get in some sort of flow so that we have kind of a regular routine, preview a tournament, recap the last one. Still kind of zeroing in on a day and time that's going to happen, and because we have to connect with
We'll
schedules.
aim for early week.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
I think
that'll early week, Monday, Tuesday. And this is
now,
coming out
not every
Monday, right?
tournament starts on Thursday like this week, so that does give the week a little more time. This week feels like the tournament's coming faster than some of them will. So
Yeah, we can complain about it ending on Saturday on the next pod.
yeah, okay. All right. Well, thanks for hanging with us. Again, follow, subscribe on all the platforms we're on. We really appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to listen to us and interact with us on any social media. We look forward to comments and critiquing and telling us the good and the bad and how crazy you think we are for some of the picks we made. So until next time, we'll catch you on the flip side.
Thanks, guys.